Hey, everybody, it's Matt Pinfield, and I'm so excited to be one of the hosts of the 90s cruise that's coming up January 31st through February 5th. It's going to be incredible, celebrating the music, the fashion, and the culture of the 90s with some incredible bands. And I have Will Turpin right now, who's from the band Collective Soul, my old friend, and we're going to catch up about the cruise and what's been going on with him.
Yeah, man. Thanks, buddy. It's always great to see you. And, you just did some good stuff for our upcoming documentary, man. You've been a great friend over the years, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I was still in radio programming one of the, biggest alternative rock stations that period of time when there were only about 14 or 15 before, things really blew up in the format of music. And I was so in love with the band. And, when I got the first album and played this single and was a champion ever since. So it's just been great to see these decades, these incredible decades of records, performances, and just see you guys come through so much and come out just swinging and doing as better than ever, as great as ever, So, I mean, it's really exciting. So, Will, let's talk about, the cruise. I'm so looking forward to this 90s cruise and joining you on there. It's like all our friends in bands, that people that we've known, that you've toured with, all guys that I've interviewed, done TV and radio with over the years. And we have long relationships. Talk to me about the 90s cruise and what you're looking forward to on it.
Yeah, the cruises are so much fun because of what you just said. It's all these friends that you've known for so long. The Gin Blossoms will be on there, Lit, Fastball. These are all bands that we met in the 90s, and we've seen each other and been friends all these years through our highs and our lows. We're all still around here. We're Collective Soul celebrating 30 years this year. So just saying 30-year anniversary has been kind of tough, getting ready for this new record and stuff. But knowing each other that long and having these friendships is one of the coolest things about the cruises, because we all get to hang and spend a little more social time than we usually have.
Yeah, and it's great because I know you and I will be there with our significant others. So it'll be, we'll be hanging out and we'll be meeting people. It'll just be a great time all the way around. That's the thing I know is going to be exciting. It's like old friends getting back together, celebrating a great era of music, one of the best, in my opinion. There was just so much great creative stuff happening in the 90s. And, everybody who had their own sound could do their own thing and have success. So it was beautiful. It was definitely a special decade, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, of course, the Seattle scene in the earlier 90s was super dominant, and it should have been. But somewhere around 94, right around our record came out, it was like it was safe to just create any kind of music that you wanted to create as long as people dug it. I felt like I think that was a thing in the 90s. You didn't have to be anybody else or do anything. You could have your own sound, and if it was good enough, it took off.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this 90s cruise is a celebration of, it's an amazing decade of music, fashion, and world events. Some good food, which I'm really looking forward to. What do you wish would return from that era? Is there something about that era that you absolutely love? And what are you glad that we left behind?
Oh, what do I miss from that? I guess I miss being young and being able to do 20 miles on a bike and still play a rock show at the end of the night. We used to be so active, and now we take it easy. So we can make sure we rock on the stage. But man, I guess the nostalgia of being, we were young. I was 23 when we were signed to Atlantic, and living on a bus. Woodstock '94 was always going to be a shining moment, and again, meeting a lot of new friends on that Friday night. There was a lot of people on that Friday night that were supporting their first records. Sheryl Crow, Candlebox, Blues Traveler. Live was on their second record, Throwing Copper. But yeah, I guess I don't know what I miss. I tell you, let's use Woodstock as an example. I miss Woodstock '94. I don't miss the way it ended up in '99.
Yeah, that was an ill-managed situation. Absolutely.
We were at both though, and it was what a great era to have come from. And like you said, it felt like you could be yourself, and no one was ever telling us what to do. So it kind of worked out, you know.
Yeah, you guys really had 100% creative control over all your records. Once Hints like it took off and Shine was a number one rock song and number one alternative song and did so well. I think that was one of the cool things. People gotta let you, obviously record companies are always gonna have something to say. I know that because I
Right.
was on every angle of that. I did A&R at Columbia in the 2000s. I worked records, so I was you know, literally that I had. But I also, like people worked me and wanted me to play records on radio. I just happened to be a guy who was looking for reasons to play records, not to play them. I
Right.
love music, so I was excited to be there and have that role. And then I did the same thing at MTV as manager of music programming. So it was a incredible decade to be there and be fighting for bands that I cared about, like yourselves.
Yeah, that would be the one thing I miss. I do miss the MTV. I do miss turning on the TV, and there was people like yourself talking about music, talking about bands, and you could watch actual videos, and the Tuesday when the records and singles came out. That was a big deal, going to the record store on Tuesdays. I missed that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things. It's true. It's there was something to be said for the tangible products, which was so great. When you get a new CD or cassette, or so I mean, some people were still buying vinyl, but it was a great time for that. And there was a place to go that was curation, and that was MTV at that period of time. Plus, there was so much support in live music, which is still important, and it's why bands like Collective Soul and the bands on this bill are doing so well. Is there anyone in particular you're looking forward to seeing perform at the 90s cruise? Because you got a lot of friends on that bill, and you've shared the stage with, I'd say, at least 80% of those bands.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have. They're friends, and I enjoy watching them. I really have fun with my buddies in Lit. I love their show. Gin Blossoms, that's a kindred friendship that goes way back. Who's great live is Fastball. They still play three-piece, and they are great live. I know that they weren't very active for a while, but I saw them last summer, and I was like, wow, they're as good as ever. I haven't seen Lisa Loeb since the 90s. I'm excited to see her again.
Yeah, Lisa Loeb is great. I'm really excited to be hosting with Lisa, who I've been friends with. She was my, I think, third ever guest. She was my third guest ever
Right
on
on.
120 Minutes. It was Depeche Mode in '93, then Oasis when I was working behind the scenes, and Oasis, and then Lisa Loeb. So I've got a lot of love for Lisa, and downtown Julie Brown, who I love too, because working with her was just a joy. She's one of the coolest people and so much fun to be around, and such a good heart, and just a passionate human being that I love. So yeah, it's going to be great. And it's amazing. We're going to have that opportunity. I haven't seen the guys in Jesus Jones since like the early 90s. So I'm excited to see Mike Edwards on this one as well. But we've got Everclear, of course. Art's going to be there, and the guys, which would be great. And
yep, forgot Everclear was there. Good band and good friends. Yep.
Yeah, which is amazing. What is one of your favorite memories of the 90s? I did so many cool things with you guys. I helped launch many of your albums over the years, which was a really great opportunity and honor for me to do. When a new album would come out, we put the radio special together for that album, and we had a lot of fun doing those. So what are some of your favorite?
I mean, obviously, I mentioned Woodstock 94. That was just such a shining moment. But I always reference the 95 tour with Van Halen. It was Sammy's, it was the Balance tour. That whole summer is, 35 plus dates, and they took us to every arena in North America, and really took us under their like, tutelage a little bit. It was like older brothers. It wasn't like father figures at all. Matter of fact, they were way younger than I am now in 95. They would have been 40 in their early 40s. But I always reference that 95 tour with Van Halen. That really changed. I think it mentally changed our trajectory. We were always focused on serving the song and worried about our next music and our next records. We came from a studio. That's where I'm at right now is Reel to Reel Studios. So we had a little bit of an acumen of, we got to serve the song. We got to create great music. That's what we want to be known for is music. But as far as like somebody else coming in and teaching us a little bit about what's going on, and at the same time showing us how to have fun. The friendships we made on that Van Halen tour, like those last forever. And heck, man, I got my 5-string bass that Eddie Van Halen gave me right behind me right now, man. I used to keep it on the road, but it stays here in the studio now.
Yeah, I mean it's such a valuable personal piece of equipment and an instrument for you, which is great. Eddie was such a great guy. I mean, it was awesome to get to become friends with him and do stuff with him on television and hang out with him in his studio. It was just I've got really great memories.
He was great, man. What a great person.
Great person and incredible talent. I love it. Now I still listen to all your records, and I mean, you know, I play them all on my different radio shows, my different outlets that are on all over the United States, and you know, I'll just go deep on different records that I love. Like we've always talked about Where the River Flows and how much I always love that riff, and I was talking about remembering playing pool with James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich after they did this Motherlode special for MTV, and the album was on the jukebox, and I went on and I put that on, and we were just rocking out to it, and it was that day. And they said, "What a great riff!" This, you know, so it's a great memory that I have that I kind of associate with that song. Besides playing it so much, is it great to look back at this incredible, you know, this catalog of music that you guys have had and put together over the years, because you continued to make great records through every decade. I mean, and right from where you guys are in your lives with your heart. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously it's going to back down to Ed's prolific songwriting. I mean, his lyrics have always stood out to me. I think he belongs amongst the best, especially amongst our peers from the 90s. But yeah, man, we've always just been musical creators. We still do it all the time. It's as if, in certain ways, it's as if nothing's really changed creatively in our minds. We still, once we get in and get together and we start recording as a band, we still know it's the same moments. It's that same feeling where your hairs rise up a little bit, and you know that you're stumbling onto something and you're finding the right path for the song. Yeah, it's hard to look back and go, "Oh, that's been 30 years." It's really hard, you know. Because, you know, I guess you hear that a lot when you're young, you know, time flies or whatever. And now I'm 53 and my youngest son's graduating high school. And I can tell you all the older people when I was in my 20s were correct. Time does fly. It goes by quickly. But, you know, when it comes to making music with Collective Soul, it still feels the same. It still feels the same to us, man. We get in there and we just create from the heart.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I love the fact that, you know, you guys have that thing, and you know, Ed's lyrics are always spoken to things that are going on in different people's lives, Will, and I think that's one of the magical things about the band, and things that really, certainly as a fan, has stuck with me over the years, you know, and it's something that I've always had to say, you know. So I know that the last time we caught up, you guys are working on a new record and coming out on the 17th of May. Is Here to Eternity. It's a double album. And you guys were in Palm Springs in Elvis Presley's old home that he used to have there. Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think that's great.
Yeah, so we had a friend who was close friends, actually business partners on some other things, with the guy who owned Elvis's Palm Springs residence. And he had bought it in disrepair and pretty much started to slowly get some things working, but had left it just like Elvis did. It was a bit of a time capsule. But we met him and got to tour Elvis's place maybe right out of COVID, maybe 3 years ago. And of course, the moment we knew somebody who had Elvis Presley's Palm Springs house, the big light bulb automatically for us was, okay, well, we got to move studio gear in there and we've got to record. It took us about 2 or 3 years to get it going. But yeah, last January, about 14 months ago, we spent the entire month in Palm Springs. Great little small community. We had a blast hanging there for a month. Actually, stayed in Burt Lancaster's, one of his Palm Springs homes. That's where we spent the night. We were solid, 2 miles away from Elvis's place, which is kind of where the part of the name Here to Eternity is coming from. We're playing on the fact that it's 30 years. Burt Lancaster's film, and all, and how our music, we hope, is going to stick around longer than we will. But double record, we started out not really knowing we were going to do a double record, but we've always wanted to do a double record. Of course, in the Atlantic years, they would look at us and laugh. And then even once it came to the streaming world, our management or anybody involved with record distribution would be, yeah, that's kind of a waste. But 30 years later, we decided to just do what we wanted to do on that double record vibe. So, yeah, 20 songs, and it's coming out in a couple weeks. I'm still in that phase where I'm listening to it a lot and super proud of it. So can't wait for everybody else to get their ears on it.
Yeah, Mother's Love is the first single. It's just dropped, which is great. So people got a taste of what the record sounds like. In time for Mother's Day, too. You know what I mean?
Well timed, I'd say.
Which is great. Hey, let's talk about, I think this is just going to be so much fun. I know I'm going to have the greatest time hanging out with you. And I think one of the things that's also really special about this 90s cruise is the opportunity for real fans that love the music, love the era, to actually hang out with hosts like us and members of the bands. Because like they literally, what I notice is there's such a respect and for the artists in that era and that period of time. People that love that music really understand how special it is. So I think it's going to be, great opportunity for people to hang with us, see some great music. I'm sure we'll be doing I know we'll be doing some Q&As on the boat, some karaoke, just we're going to do some fun stuff. I mean, I'm down for all of it.
I'm good for a karaoke song or two. Don't put that past me. I got some options.
Yeah, what are your go-to karaoke songs, Will?
Matter of fact, let's go back to Palm Springs. Me, Johnny Rabb, our drummer, and Jesse Triplett, they've both been with us now for a little over a decade. We started a 3-piece karaoke band called the Street Dogs. We only do trio. We only do trio songs. So our repertoire is growing, but it's a lot of right now. We got a couple Belle Biv DeVoe songs. We got a couple of Beastie Boy songs, but everything in our repertoire is a 3-piece. So we might see some Street Dogs out there on the boat.
Ah, man, that would be something. We would love that. I'd love to grab some songs from that time. Now, is it trios from every era of like rock and soul? And
if it's a trio, it's up for discussion. Any trio, Street Dogs is up for any trio. Yeah. If you got any good recommendations, let us know.
Right. So it could be Cream or Rush or Jimi Hendrix Experience, right? It could be anything, right? I mean, there's so many cool bands.
Well, with karaoke, we're all dealing with vocal mics, but
yeah, and so Rush might be a little hard too for people to reach Geddy Lee's voice and his range. That's made for a special guy. You know what I mean? Somebody like Claudio Sanchez from Cody and Cambria could definitely hit it, but a lot of other people, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But
that's nothing you just go upon lightly. I'm going to sing a Rush tune. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's something you got to seriously work on. So I'm excited too about what is also coming up. Is this summer camp tour that you're doing? Summer Camp with Trucks tour, and I love it because it's tribute to the South. It's Hootie and the Blowfish from the Carolinas, and you guys and Edwin McCain from the South as well.
Right. Also from Edwin's basically Greenville, South Carolina area, and those guys were, Columbia, South Carolina, closer to the coast, and we were from Atlanta. The other ironic thing is we were all signed to Atlantic Records on our first record deals. All 3 Southern groups that signed to Atlantic Records in New York City. It was, and we met each other back then, and man, those are more dear relationships, and yeah, it's going to be funny to be on tour and all of us look at each other and go, wow. Holy crap.
We're still here and it's awesome. It's great. I love that. I love when you have the opportunity to look back. This documentary that you guys have coming out is exciting for me because I'm sure it dives into like everything. There's a lot of, things. We all have these things in our lives where, these events take place, some of them positive, some of them negative. And we always hope to learn from them and grow from them. Looking back, how was that? Was it a cathartic experience to work on a documentary like that about the band's career? Did it help get some closure on some of those things, or was it another way to reflect on those? Because you guys went through some things that I thought were difficult and unfair, but I always loved the band, and I always appreciated the resilience and the strength that you had as people and as a band going through those different
Yeah,
times.
thanks, Matt. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't say it was cathartic, but definitely it was a reflection, and it was good to see. I was definitely nervous watching the first cut. I realized right at the end of the after I saw it, I was really happy because it's well done, and you know we're really satisfied with how it turned out so far. But yeah, man, my back was soaking wet from sweat, just wondering how this was all going to be portrayed and how it was all going to be laid out. Um, yeah, it's a little bit of looking back, reflecting, and being. There's a lot of pride there. There's a lot of pride knowing that we were young guys and we weren't acting like, oh man, look how cool we are. It was always about our next thing, and always about we got to do better, or we got to what are we going to do creatively for our next record. We were always moving forward. And I think that moving forward, and like you said, learning and trying to grow, or maybe not grow, but just get through some of these moments. But looking back and seeing that we did that, there's a lot of pride involved. So yeah, I'm excited for people to see it. I think people know that Collective Soul is a small town story, but they don't really know the depth of what it was and what this story really was. So yeah, I'm excited, and there's a lot of pride there. Maybe not a lot of reflecting. I don't think I felt like I exhumed any ghosts or anything, but we're happy about it, man.
Yeah, and it was a great celebration of a band who's continued to make great music, and also marched into your own drummer. I always felt, you know what I mean. That's the thing. Did whatever was right for the band, and if it was always true to the heart. I never ever got the feeling ever any time in your career that you guys were,
You never
you
felt
know,
like all of a sudden you heard a Collective Soul song, you're like, oh, that's contrived. They went for something there that's hot.
yeah,
No, we
no,
never did that. And it started out like you said, because that first record was on an independent label, and we had number one rock song of the year, and we sold 1.5 million copies. So Atlantic Records was like, well, we didn't do anything to the first record, so why should we stick our nose into the second record, third record, fourth record? And of course, there's opinions once they hear where we're going with everything, but we were allowed to create as we felt. I tell everybody we created by feel. And you said it was by the heart, from the heart, but yeah, it's whatever felt good to us, um, and we did like the fact that we thought no one really sounded like us as well, so we stayed there.
I think it's great, and it's certainly true, and that's why this documentary is going to be so special. Let's talk about some of the bands that are on the cruise before we finish up. Will, talk to me about Blues Traveler, and I know you've known those guys for a long time.
Heck yeah, one of my favorite pictures I have. Popper used to get up on. We've done a couple summer tours with them, but Popper used to hop up on stage with Better Now. We would do this extended solo section, and of course we got John Popper up there playing harp. So yeah, one of my greatest, most treasured pictures is I'm leaning against him and he's leaning against me, and he's playing a harp solo on Better Now in an amphitheater somewhere in the world. But man, with another band that's just been great friends, and we've always enjoyed sharing the stage. So I can't wait to see them again. It's pre-COVID since I saw those guys last, so excited to see them.
That's great, and we talked about Gin Blossoms, we talked about Lit, Everclear, we talked about Lisa Loeb and Fastball, and I love and it's just going to be a great time. I mean, all the way around. Plus, I like that there's a variety of music too, because you got Digital Underground, Sophie B. Hawkins, Color Me Bad, and CNC Music Factory, and I'm sure people are going to be dancing and going wild. They're going to make you sweat.
I'm in on the CNC Music Factory set, and I'm excited to see Sophie B. Hawkins jam too. I want to check that out.
I think it's going to be great. And Color Me Bad, What I Want to Sex You Up. There's something for everybody on this 90s cruise. And it definitely leans into the rock side, but I love that there's also that feeling of like of great pop that was big at that period of time, and some hip hop, and
and
a little
and some
R&B. So it's all good.
and some of the foremost MTV personalities of the era. Is this your
Yeah.
is this your first boat
No,
cruise
it's
like
not the
this?
first cruise I've done, but it's gonna be one of my favorites and very exciting to me.
Right on.
I'm so pumped about it. Because you guys are all my friends. I mean, the beauty of this cruise is, if you think about it, right? I mean, I remember, I've been friends with the Blues Traveler guys for years, obviously. I still see Chan pretty regularly, and John, we always got on great. And those guys based out of New Jersey originally I'm born in Georgia.
Right.
As you know, Athens, raised in Jersey. You guys have been my friends forever. Gin Blossoms, I was at one of their first showcases at CBGB's when they came to New York, and the rain was pouring, and I can't wait. I went from Jersey to the city, and I stood in the doorway with the Gin Blossoms. We were all still like wet, but waiting for them to get their chance to go on stage. And when their first EP was about to drop, so that was cool. And again, long friendship, very close with Everclear and Art. And the guys in Lit, I love those guys. I mean, HA, those guys are the coolest guys. We stay in touch. The Color Me Bad guys, I'm excited to see. We met briefly back in the 90s. Fastball guys are awesome. Lisa and I have always been friendly for years. Jesus Jones, I was on the road in England in 1989 when their first record came out, before the 90s broke. And I was with a band called The Wonder Stuff and Ned's Atomic Dustbin when they were new. And there was another band called Jesus Jones. And it was my first time to be in England, but I got to hang with those guys, and we went to see them play at a university, and then they jumped on this tour. So it brings back a lot of memories. Of course, love Digital Underground, and Sophie B. Hawkins, has done some great songs. And again, just the fact that I get to host with Downtown Julie Brown, another MTV legend, and hang out with Lisa Loeb and host with her as well, who's one of the coolest people I know. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. And there's never a time when it comes to Collective Soul and our relationship that it doesn't feel like a lot of time's gone by. We pick up where we left off, right? So
yeah, that's one of the things I was going to mention too. Is like all these people that we've known all these years. It's like sometimes we don't get to spend a lot of social time. It's like, hey, we're backstage, we're hanging out, we're glad to see each other. But when we do get like the cruise, we're going to spend some social time together, and it's just like in the 90s or just like early 2000s. It's we always catch up right where we left off. It's just one of those kindred professional musician things,
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be great. I'm excited about it, Will. I can't begin to tell you.
I can't wait either, man. We have fun on the cruises, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast, and I'm excited. Like, I'm there for whatever they want to do. So I'll do karaoke. I'll host it. We'll do Q&As. I know that Julie and I and Lisa are going to just have so much fun doing it. And we'll also get to see Lisa perform, which would be great.
I'm in.
So, Will, this is great. So I'm looking forward to seeing you January 29th through the 5th of February. We're going to bring the summer to the winter there. We're going to be having a really great time in great weather. It's going to be very exciting to be going, from Florida to Mexico. I'm really pumped about it, and we're hanging. We're going to be hanging, and I'm checking out that trio of yours. You know that I'll be, all the shows, the Collective Soul sets, and everybody. So, listen, just want to say, Will, thanks for doing this today.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Great, and I look
come
forward
see
to
us this summer. You're always invited, brother.
Absolutely, I will 100%. I know I'm going to see where I am, and I'm going to come to where you are and come hang with you guys, so we can talk about some of the fun things that we're going to do and pull off while we're on the 90s cruise too. It'll be great. And I want to hear the new songs, Here to Eternity, out May 17th, everybody. And don't forget about the tour. It's a Summer Camp with Trucks tour. I love that name. And it's with Hootie and the Blowfish and Edwin McCain, your longtime friends. Also bands from the South, all signed to Atlantic. Well, this was really great. It was such a pleasure to do this with you. You got to send my love and everything to the rest of the guys. And
I will.
And I'm looking forward to seeing a cut of that documentary soon.
All right, man. We're excited about it.
It's going to be great. The 90s cruise, everybody. Listen, if you do not have tickets or cabins booked yet, you've got to come join us. It's going to be incredible. It's me, Downtown Julie Brown, the MTV legend, and Lisa Loeb, who's hosting with us and also performing in all the other incredible bands. This is happening January 31st through February 5th. It's the only way to start the year and start the winter is to come hang with us on the 90s cruise.